where the powerful and the powerless will sit at the same table, where the haves will see the have-nots, not as burdens, but as brothers, where class will not divide us, but conviction will unite us. I have a dream that the oligarchs will remember we must all eat, that the brown-faced neo-colonialists will remember who they are and whose they are. I have a dream that fraternities will build beyond internal architecture into a national bond, that the walls of design will give way to the bridges of brotherhood, not a fraternity of symbol, but a brotherhood of substance. I have a dream that we remain focused, that we stay in our conviction and remain fearless, that we double down, fortified, to return this Bahama land to the foundation.
Wait, they was gon' hate, I knew it. But I don't just talk, I do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. They was gon' hate, I knew it. But I don't just talk, I do it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We do it over here on this side with the foundation. Grateful to be in your company, always jamming with you. Happy to be here, guys. Hope you're good and hope you had a good weekend. Well, this weekend. Hope you had a good Monday. I know it was a little bit overcast yesterday, a little raining. And, I hope you guys are good and that kind of a respect and being able to do things. Grateful to be in this kind of a company. I got to be able to read something, man. My wife sent me something yesterday that our very, very good uncle, her good uncle, who I adopted. I might as well tell you, he's my uncle too now. Uncle Bill, man, Poitier, William Bill Poitier, is in a significant need of some blood. And so he wants to be able to together. Let me see if I can be able to read this information that she sent me and have everybody know. It says, Mr. William Bill Poitier, faithful member of Grantstown Wesley Methodist Church, is in urgent need of blood. And he's presently at the male surgical ward of the Princess Margaret Hospital. If you are able, please make your deposit of blood at the Princess Margaret Hospital blood bank in his name, which is William Bill Poitier. Thank you so kind for your attention and your request to this. May God bless you tremendously as you give of yourself unselfishly. Yeah, so she sent me this yesterday. This is for Uncle Bill. And Uncle Bill has been, a true friend and a family member. Sometimes they don't necessarily always come out of blood. But he's really been awesome in his particular respect. You should know his son also, Alfred. They are prominent persons in our society. Uncle Bill was he assistant comptroller? I can't remember, but he was something big in the customs at some point. Then he transitioned off, and they call him back as a consultant of sorts. But he's out there, he's doing his thing, and I know this may not necessarily be the easiest thing for persons to kind of do, to give a request of something. Sometimes persons have been living their lives in such a manner that this sort of independence is what they thrived on. But things have transitioned, things have shifted significantly, and now there is a dependency, of reliance on other persons, not necessarily for your survival, but for those persons who feel as though that there is a work unfinished and some things that needs to be done. And so, Uncle Bill, man, I want you to be able to go check out Uncle Bill, Bill Poitier. You know him. I don't know if if you are established in this society, you would know him. He is in all circles, affluent and otherwise. And he's a tremendous, tremendous individual. So I just want you to be able to do that. Do that for me. Go down there to Mayo Surgical Wards, wherever you can give blood, and be able to find out. And do that for me in terms of being able to touch him and assist him however you can. You know, I don't like to talk about people's illness or issues or whatever they're kind of being able to deal with. Give them that kind of a space. We're still waiting for Dimitri to come sit with us. Dimitri has been through a recent transition and being able to do that. Who are you talking about? Dimitri Smith. You know him. He has been able to be the funny man for years, and he's been doing some wonderful things as it relates to being able to assist persons, as it relates to, well, he was doing some Mother's Day stuff. My wife and I, we went to the Mother's Day concert. Oh my God, we had such a wonderful time. So I'm hoping that you guys are good, man, as we talk about these things. There's another thing I got here. Apostle Clement Russell Sr. and Heal Our Land invites you to oneness, encouraging all men throughout the Bahamas to heed to the call to come together as one before Yahweh Almighty and to be refreshed in the present truth. So he says, this is a special music and all these things. It's going to be Tuesday, September 9th at 7 p.m. At the Baptist Auditorium on Jean Street off Prince Charles. You can be able to find out more information. Is there a number that he puts here? Let me look and see. Yes, you can be able to give him a call at 819-3798, 819-3798. Let me see if I can send this to my producer so he can be able to just put it up on the screen so you guys can be able to see it. 819-3798. And he's out there. He's doing amazing things. I just actually bumped into him. Had an opportunity to be able to visit a very good friend of mine, Clint Watson, yesterday over at ZNS. I just wanted to be decent, as I said, that I slid that on you there very easy. Right? Yeah, so I had an opportunity. When I walked out, I saw Clement. I hadn't seen him in a long time. He gave me a good hail, and he just continued to be able to fight the good fight of faith and always being able to talk about the Lord and the idea of being able to move forward and make some things happen. So I want you to support him. If I could find my producer's number in this phone, I'll send it to him so he can be able to put it up on the screen and see exactly what's what. Okay, he got it. All right, so just a flyer. Just put the flyer, snap it, put it flyer on there. Guys, it's a great day, man. There's a lot of things happening out there in the city. Today is Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. We're 2 days away from being able to recognize what the free world has called one of the biggest calamities in that kind of a space forever. What I'm talking about is 9/11, right? Despite the fact that, you know, you drop bombs on Gaza. Most recently, you'd have been able to hear them talk about the fact that in the Caribbean Sea, they would have dropped bombs on Venezuela, some sort of a ship that was going on there. All these things happen. These things happen. On a regular basis, these things happen. And there's nothing but relentless conversations about what cannot happen to America. Yeah, we're not here to advocate for any danger or anything like that out of America, but it's just peculiar and it's indifferent. There's an imbalance, right? You could be able to see those things, right? So, guys, check it out. I know that a lot of persons are commemorating, and a lot of persons in the United States of America are still astonished by this thing, right? As we watch people in Gaza and Palestine and whatnot live on air as the persons in listen, this is no contrast. I'm simply saying that there's a facade that floats in this particular part of the region, this world that we live in, this free world that we live in, where you're casual in your approach of being able to do these things. You're casual. You're very casual in your approach of being able to recognize and understand that life, the precious nature of life is not only ascribed to Americans. Yeah. First thing Donald Trump wishes to do when he finds himself in this position of authority and actually capturing the presidency of the United States of America is have a casual conversation that was the introduction of gentrification. I can't even get an amen. It was gentrification. On a geopolitical global scale, gentrification. We're going to buy the Gaza Strip. It'll be the Riviera of the East. What the hell are you saying? gut the culture that exists in this particular place, to forget those persons that exist in this place, and only identify what is to come through finances? The rejection of, man, listen. There's a lot of things happening out here in the world. But I want to be able to talk to you about our position and how do we play a part. How do we play a part in terms of moving forward? How do we play a part in terms of doing the right thing? How do we play a part with being able to have our minds calibrated with consciousness, as opposed to being able to fall in the muck and mire of fallacy, of foolishness? How do we identify ourselves separate and apart from what's happening from on the external aspect of life? Let's talk about these things. Identify these things. I want to look in the paper today and have a good conversation with you. Bahamas Air pilot in flight Rao fired. Tracy, that's what I was trying to remember the whole time, you know. Tracy Cooper. Did I call him Trevor the other day? I think I did. Tracy Cooper, Bahamas Air director, who's been there for some time now. He's come on and being able to give us the politically correct terminology. He was relieved of his duty. I don't know if you heard the voice note going around. Did I hear it on Channel 7 News? I think I did. Bahamas Air flight person fired. Bahamas Air put that in. Channel 7 News put that information out. And it was atrocious. It was atrocious. Airline says the captain's behavior not in line with their standards. Bahamas Air has fired a captain after the cockpit dispute in Abaco left more than 100 passengers stranded, with officials stressing that the incident was isolated and not representative of the airline's standards. Right? The disruption unfolded on Sunday, August 31st, when the female first officer refused to continue flying with the captain on a scheduled Abaco New Providence flight after he was reported to be vaping in the cockpit. She alerted the Operations Control Center, citing cockpit dynamics and safety concerns, and refused to operate the flight with him. This is the Tribune I'm reading it from, right? So let's go slide down to page 7 and be able to see exactly what they put in there, right? They have all the information in the paper. You can pick up the paper and be able to keep abreast as to what's happening. So Bahamas Air immediately, let's read the story. Bahamas Air immediately pulled both pilots from duty and dispatched a replacement crew. The ATR Turbo Pro aircraft registration number C6BFR eventually departed Marsh Harbor for West Palm Beach, Florida after 4 p.m. Hours behind schedule. You know, let me say this. Let's give you all my business a little bit. Just a little taste, so you can understand and put humanity to it. Because sometimes you feel like these issues are isolated, separate, and apart. I don't do nothing like that. Why these people? No. Let's talk. Let's talk with clarity, and understand these particular things. When I went to school in Cuba, okay, so my uncles always smoked, right? Cigars. My grandmother, I don't think she wants me to say this, but it's a great deal of our grandmothers who smoke a pipe. You remember the pipe? So my grandmother had a pipe, and they used to have tobacco under the bathroom sink. Now, she never smoked outside the bathroom. So she'd be in the bathroom, and she had a pipe when I was young. And she would stuff the tobacco in the pipe, right? Light it, and in the bathroom, she'd smoke a pipe. Now, I don't know whether or not she, light a match in the bathroom. I don't know what all this was. I don't know. But nonetheless, my grandmother had a pipe in these particular instances. Is this a call that's coming through quick like that? Let's take a telephone call. Let's see exactly what's up. Caller, you're on the line with us live. Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm thinking you went mute.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Caller, you're on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I can't hear. I think you went mute all of a
Oh,
sudden.
I went mute? Okay, I'm sorry. We can deal with this right now.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. Check it out. I don't know if she's listening from Facebook or YouTube or what. Okay. Okay. So we should be good. We can check it out. We should be good. Now just check it out. Listen. So my grandmother, she smoked a pipe, right? And she had the little tin of tobacco underneath the zinc. So as a child, there's a couple of things that, you're always intrigued by what adults do. And I found myself in this kind of a position. Guys, am I mute? Somebody text me and let me know if I'm mute. Somebody just text me again and say, Howard, your sound is muted. Howard, your sound is muted. Huh? Tell me if I'm back up.
Howard,
am I
your
back
sound
up?
is muted. I don't know what's going on.
Am I back up?
No, your audio is still muted.
All right, let me deal with that right now. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Somebody hit me with a thumbs up if you could be able to hear me on the text or if you're listening online, hit me with a thumbs up if you can hear me. Let me know if the audio is good. It's up now. Okay, so we're going into it. We were talking about Tracy Cooper, if you missed it, right? If you're talking about Tracy Cooper letting go of this pilot, we read the first part of the story that said that a first female officer was in Marsh Harbor in Abaco and preparing to be able to move to New Providence in this particular space. We read it out of the Tribune paper, so we read all these particular stanzas, and the issue was he was vaping in the people cockpit. This would we say. Nah. So I started off my story so I could get you somewhere. I was going somewhere. So my grandmother smoked a pipe. Jesus, I know she didn't want me to hear it once. I didn't say it 3 times. Anyway, Grammy, I love you. Gee, I love you so bad. So when I was young, she had a pipe. And the sort of adventure that existed in the bathroom that was out of hands and you shouldn't deal with as a child, placed me in a very precarious situation when I was young. When they used to put, roads in their eyebrow. You probably could still see the road in my eyebrow, right? They used to put like little, you remember you used to put little roads and dashes in your eyebrow? I don't know what it was all about. I wanted to do that. My mother wouldn't let me do that. My grandfather was a barber. My mother also was able to cut hair. My daddy said, boy, this sissiness, what you into? So I said, Daddy, I thought it was cool. So my grandfather always shaved. So he had a big razor in there. And I just tried to be able to touch it very lightly with the big razor, right? And somebody must have called me, right? They don't call me Howard at home. They call me Mato, right? So my grandmother must have said, Ramato. And then when she said that, I turned my head. With the big razor still on my face. Needless to say, I had no eyebrow in the 6th grade, right? So so I went to school. My mother painted one on, and she was laughing so much. These are the intrigue in the bathroom. My grandmother used to smoke a pipe. And I want to know what this pipe all about. Got me smoking the pipe. Let me see what's going on. So me and my cousins would take the tobacco and run in the bush and wrap it up with banana leaves. Yeah, my cousin Abby and Elliot and all us and Derica. And we would do that, right? And just through observation, we saw a lot of persons smoking over the years. All my uncles smoke cigars. All my uncles smoke a cigar. Right? Some more than others, but nonetheless, they touch a cigar. My daddy don't bother with the thing at all. He don't want nothing to do with the thing, right? I don't know. He must have had some kind of a fear and phobia, right? He didn't want that. He wanted something else. Praise God. I don't know. I don't get the people business. So nonetheless, right? We out here smoking cigars, and there was a subconscious desire and the coming of age story of a young man where he needs to be identified as a man. And so there's some things that he does, right? And I could say there's some things that she does also. I just don't know I don't know that path for women. I don't get in that. I know but man. So there's some things that young men do to give the appearance that we are mature, we're strong, and we're men. And one of those things was smoking. And so when I went off to school to Cuba, I found myself experimenting with cigars. Right? Monte Cristo, Romeo and Juliet, Cohibas, all the variations. And listen, all these things. Whatever they had in Cuba, we had them. Trust me. And some of them give me headaches and whatnot, but nonetheless, you keep trying them. And Cubans had this culture of smoking. Everyone in Cuba smoked. Listen, I have not met a person in Cuba that don't smoke. Not. But they don't smoke like the traditional yellow pack cigarettes, stuff like that. They make their own stuff. And so we found ourselves in these positions. I smoked 4 years. And this is kind of a, chain smoking type thing. But I had a cigar. I felt like it gave me some sort of regal type, I don't know, subconsciously in my head. Yeah, boy, you was a man. But you was a decent man. You look good. This is the subconscious things that go around in your head. And, something happens over time, and I say, I don't think I want to smoke. Then, this is where the story comes in. I get into vaping. Vaping was worse than smoking. And if you look at this kind of an idea about vaping, it gives you the ratio of how many cigarettes it is within one pack or within one of those cartons of vape. I thought I was weaning away and this was a healthier option because it didn't always have to be. I never got one with nicotine in it. This didn't always have to be this, right? And I said, I can't even do this. This is crazy. Anyway. The entire idea of this is to be able to talk about the addiction associated with this. This is not an excuse for the gentleman, but this is an addictive thing. I watch people vape in professional environments and they think it's good because it has a good aroma depending on what you're smoking. It has a nice aroma depending on what you're smoking. You could make it smell different and so forth and so on. It's great stuff in terms of the aroma, the scent. But to watch you vape in these spaces is peculiar. And in a cockpit, cousin, is bananas. In a cockpit? And you telling me don't smoke on a plane? You telling me don't smoke on a plane? So you in the cockpit smoking? And only because his first officer said something, we find this being able to come to the forefront. And I agree. Bahamas Air has always been professional. And there was like a social mantra that always kind of floated about for Bahamas Air. Yeah, you might not get there on time, but you can be safe. This is like what people say about them, which is peculiar because what's the safety record of other planes in the country? You know what I mean? Like, okay. Almost to say that them other planes ain't safe, sir. But Bahamas Air has always, despite sometimes, and I think that they're working on it, as it relates to being able to do better in terms of their arrival, Bahamas Air has always maintained a level of professionalism. And I must commend them for that. Bahamas Air has always been on the cutting edge, even if they have not historically been the most profitable entity. They provided elements that is essential for travel, right? And opportunities for persons to be able to go off and do some space. Yeah, they give persons great opportunities. A couple of my family members work to Bahamas Air. And the caliber in which they work will not differentiate from what you see in American Air. If you remember American Eagle, my mother used to manage American Eagle out of Grand Bahama for a long time, right? If you see the professionalism and the caliber that exists in Delta, American Airline, even Pan Am, if you remember Pan Am. This is the caliber of professionalism that comes out of Bahamas Air. And I must commend it. So to the story and to the release as it relates that this is not a representation of what we stand for here at Bahamas Air, I agree. But I have to say that this is poor. That your vice and your addiction could place you in a position where, like Tracy Cooper has said, you have been relieved of your occupation, of your services. That's crazy. The word relieve, for me, subconsciously says that this was a burden for you. That this occupation was burdensome. You had to smoke to endure because it was stressful. We're helping you out by being able to relieve you of your occupation. I sure you just make over $75,000 a year. So you need a vape that bad. God could tell you that. You need a patch. Stick one of them on your arm. You need a patch, cousin. A vape. Vaping can help you. You need a patch. Because if there's a level of addiction, I got to ask questions. What you was smoking in this vape? You make me feel like Chris Rock in that movie. You got any crack? We want to be decent with you. What are you doing, sir? What are we doing in the Bahama land? That we allow our desires, allow the recreation to run before the obligation, to run before the responsibility that we have to this mantra, this oath that we've taken to preserve these lives. Souls on a plane. And you're so nonchalant and casual with it in your capacity that the organization had to separate themselves. We don't normally see this. We normally see that we apologize. Maybe you come to the forefront, you apologize. Maybe you go through some training. We see that from the United States of side, where persons have put you through these particular programs to get you better. You don't lose your job. You maybe lose a couple of days. You had to do this, you had to do that. You get to retain your job, and you are in a better position. But sir, this had to have been more than just a vape. Want to be decent? Let me take this quick commercial break, guys. I got a guest coming in. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to be right back after this. Do right in. Listen, I don't know what in your vape. I don't know what in your vape. I don't know what you got in your vape. It may need a spoon and a lighter under it because it seems like you got to be on some sort of crack. I just want to be decent as I say this. Why would we allow our vices to take us away from our obligation, our responsibility, our position, and moving forward to make some things happen in this life? Let's just talk. The numbers are right there, guys. If you want to be able to be a part of the conversation, I'd love you to do so. Hit me up, 827-0111, 827-0111. We are live and in full effect right here, jamming. And in the studio with me, I don't know what I could call this series. I've had so many persons who've actually sat with me now, who have been avid callers of the show, and I'm grateful to have them in this space. And today, a person who's been an activist in our society for a very long time. He's been active, really being active and talking about preservation and talking about the next dispensation of how the Bahama land should look, and not only doing that through the lens of politics, but also through energy and other sources. In the studio with me is someone who you should know very well. He's been in the talk show circuits. He's done these things. You would have heard his voice over media at some point if you've been listening. None other than Graham Weatherford. Graham, what's happening with you, man?
Well, I got to congratulate you first, Howard, because as I look around, you have a world-class studio. And, and I've been in many, as you've said. And for years, Howard, I've not been paid to do what I do. And I don't know, it's nothing other than saying I should live in a country better than New York, better than Dubai, better than Malaysia, better than Singapore. With the few thousand people that we have in our country, we shouldn't compare ourselves to nations with millions of people. I always say it one way. I try to keep things simple. I don't like to use big, complicated words. If I have $100 today, right? You and I are going to get some solid lunch, right? Mm-hmm. But if we have thousands or millions of people here, we wouldn't even get a patty. So people say our numbers are small. Well, so is Bermuda. So is Cayman. And these people are eating our lunch, despite us being the richest country in the hemisphere in the 1980s, according to the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. How did you slip to number 3? What did we do right or wrong? And we're going to talk about that, but let me, you welcome me, so let me let me say good afternoon to you, because I feel more free speaking in this space than any other space I've been in. And that is happening worldwide. And what's nice is...
That's crazy, Graham.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy, Graham.
Other places I couldn't talk as quick. I had to talk slower because I had to think about the words I said and the repercussions.
Of those words.
As it pertained to the regulator. The views and opinions, the little slogan we have before every show on those other spaces. Mm-hmm. What's upsetting is there's still repercussions even in this space, and it shouldn't be. We should be allowed to speak freely.
But this space is a representation of a facade that was projected upon the Bahamian people in 1993. With the opening of the airwaves, there was an expectation that transparency would be the forefront, that freedom of speech would reign, right? Yeah, with responsibility, with being able to keep it in line and not to be salacious in those particular, and be responsible, of course. Yeah. But that didn't happen. We saw a lot of news houses take on the same concept that they alleged ZNS was doing, right? When they say that ZNS is for the government or ZNS is for this political organization or that, they
picked a side.
They made these allegations against the National Broadcasting Corporation. Yep. And they became the exact same thing that they despise. Isn't that crazy?
And it's not where anyone else can start up to even be independent and compete. Because in that space, there's only so many frequencies or allocations, or the regulator says we can't have another one of these things. And the costs are prohibitive. But in this space, everybody, you notice what's happened in media? The big media houses, networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, and, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, and BBC, and they're all in trouble now because what's happening is you have spaces like TikTok where this phone and every single person on the planet becomes a reporter. So if someone, the other day, I believe they had a shooting in Israel of a bus. Mm-hmm. I didn't go to CNN.
I never go to CNN or anything.
I went to TikTok because everybody on the bus and around the bus had a phone.
I go to my guy, Dylan. I think his name is Dylan from Daily News. Yeah. He is solid. I always enjoy his stuff. And that's just what it is. I think a lot of things are shifting, and a lot of persons take on this kind of a perspective and this kind of an idea that says you got to go to these. Well, we in the Bahamas, and this may be a good thing at this time, we in the Bahamas are kind of 10 years behind.
Yes.
We're a decade behind. And so this progressive technology that exists externally around the world, we're catching up to that. And that can be good for the persons in our community, in our society that has foresight. So if you got vision, you know how to prepare yourself for the inevitability.
And what I appreciate about the Bahamas is so unique. While they say we're 10 years behind and we're backwards, how many Americans are connected with Starlink today versus how many Bahamians, percentage-wise? All out islands got it.
And per capita is what you mean.
Yeah, per capita. Mm-hmm. And so we're cutting edge and backwards simultaneously. And I'd like to change that. I said years ago I'd like a nation with smart people and dumb phones.
Smart people and dumb phones.
Yeah, I don't like smartphones and people that aren't smarter than their phone. And so, in 1973, we did some things. In 92, like you said, we opened up air. We thought it was a change, right? Mm-hmm. And now your generation is feeling what my generation thought was freedom, but it ended up being worse incarceration, digital incarceration, because we all got to listen and talk on radio and be distracted instead of worrying about the things that mattered. How many billionaires have we made in this country from 1992 per capita? And how many millionaires per capita?
I think a country is kind of at least churned out about 10, but they don't belong to the country.
So percentage-wise, that's a failure.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's an even bigger failure because they don't belong to the country.
So when did the model kick in that we need somebody with a big boat or a big hotel to come here and tell us how tourism has to happen?
That's the concept that existed under the anchor projects. When the first, after colonialism, right? The transition of colonialism into neocolonialism, because that's what happened. Let's just be straightforward with that. The transition between colonialism and neocolonialism and the introduction of Bahamianization, when that didn't necessarily take off the way that it was supposed to, it was supposed to be paired with Bahamianization to bring in these entities, all of these big projects, and train Bahamian persons on the job. Now, the big projects or the anchor projects came, but that training for the transition never happened. So they kept the element and the structure of being able to bring the big stuff in. And that's just what it is. You saw under the last administration with the PLP in 2012, you saw Perry Christie, former Prime Minister Perry Christie, take on this kind of he was avid about this idea of Bahama and what it can do and all these things like that. And the world had already started to look at boutique hotels. The world had already started to look at a different model. This model that exists for tourism right now is a model that was set globally by Stafford Sands. Ain't nobody won't believe that.
In the 50s.
Ain't nobody won't believe that.
But it's what happened in Freeport.
Ain't nobody won't believe that. Stafford Sands set up this thing. And persons in Hawaii said, wow, this is a great model. And they said, we're going to duplicate this model. This model that you see globally for tourism was set up by Stafford Sands.
And the Caribbean followed it.
And throughout the entire Caribbean.
They all followed.
They followed it.
And in banking, that was set up back then as well. And everybody kept following it. Where's the new creative big thinking?
That's what I'm telling you now.
In tourism or banking.
The shift that is happening. And this is why I continue to be able to talk about. I'm glad you jog my memory like this. I enjoy these kind of conversations. Let's just be very clear, right? I've often said that the Ministry of Tourism needs an arm where creative thinkers can be able to interject and have a think tank about the next dispensation of how tourism should look in the Bahamas. Okay? We've heard about Airbnb and the inception of Airbnb and how Airbnb started in San Francisco. We heard these stories. I don't know if you heard these stories, but these stories are told. Airbnb started in San Francisco when they had this kind of a big event, whatever this was, right? It was in one of the Sands, whether San Diego, San Francisco, San Andreas, I don't know, one of the Sands. It was in the Sands. And they had this, I think it's in San Fran though. They had this thing, and it was so many different conventions happening in the space. There was no hotel rooms. So a group of people must have rented this kind of a loft or something like that. They stayed together and they started to brainstorm of what happened. And one of the persons said, I remember something. I went to the Bahamas when I was younger on a people-to-people program, and we stayed at people's mother sicken. You mean to tell me we are inspiring billionaires and the development thereof? I told you, the Bahamas has created a great deal of billionaires, but they don't exist here.
Bimini and Abaco also had this model of owning the bed, the sheet, the pillow, the taxi. You want to rent some flippers and goggles? They own it. The people own it. Remember Dorian? We lost 1/3 of our tourist dollars. Remember that? You know why? When Abaco was hit, you lost 1/3 of the tourist dollars. But they don't have a big hotel. They don't have a big cruise ship. So how were they 1/3 of the tourist dollars? Because they own every aspect of tourism. Here in the capital, we don't own the tourism. We just work in it. We don't own the bed, the sheet, the pillow.
But that's what they want. See, there's a level of lazy.
Then they call us lazy.
No, but that's lazy. So we keep talking about this sort of an idea of the pursuit of success and the idea of pursuit of content. It's kind of a contented space. And I tell this story, and I only tell you my business. I don't tell you other people's business. I try not to. But I tell you this story that Every job I've ever had from a formal standpoint working for people, I've gotten fired. And I thought that there was something wrong with me. I had a friend tell me one time, we were in a group together, and he was a part of the group. It was a Christian group. It was called Men on the Move for Christ. And we would pray together and fast together and talk about great ideas and how we can be able to build together. And he said to me when I was working for the Alukaya Hotel, which is now that you know as the Grand Lucayan Hotel, he said, "Howard, you're too big for this hotel." And I've always been a big guy. So I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, sir? All right. I'm not as big as the hotel. I'm good. Right. So he says, no, Howard. He said, the way that you think and the way that you move and the ideas that you have is too big for a confined space like this for just mere occupation. You need to find yourself in the position that you can work. Yeah. And then you contrast that with living in a society where you only can kill what you eat. You only can eat what you kill, right? And so you have to go out and pursue funds every day. Our society is not designed to be able to support entrepreneurs. It's a fallacy. It's platitudes towards it. It gives you political brownie points that you're going to be able to do it. But for the most part, historically, administrations has not focused on the thinkers, the innovators, the entrepreneurs, the startups. They haven't done that. They placed more emphasis on...
From school. This starts
from school.
Even before school.
They place more emphasis on those same anchor projects. Listen to me. Go do your history on Sarkis Marillion and realize who had the money in his family. His father. Mm-hmm. He had come right out of school into an opportunity. He didn't have any life experience per se. He had come out of school, young man, he was a young man, into an opportunity that was mammoth, $3.4 billion. But we can't be trusted with $150,000. Oh, you black people, you're gonna steal that. Talk to me, Graham.
It's not just black people.
Yeah, he always just pull himself in that. The Conky Jews in that too. Go ahead, Graham.
Yeah, only 1% of the light-skinned people in this country have wealth. The rest are broke. And that's a reality we spoke about with Chrissy Love years ago. But you're right. The big thinking gets crushed here.
Every time.
You're probably, and it's even worse because if you were to know Bill Gates or somebody with money, right? Mm-hmm. And you took the big thinking to them, mm-hmm. and they were ready to give you $100 million or $2 billion for a project, right? Mm-hmm. What hurdles do you have to achieve then? They're massive.
Well, I could tell you this. I'll give you some insight. During the hurricane, during Francis and Jane, forgive me for scrolling, guys. I'm looking for something, right? Mm-hmm. During Francis and Jane, I was strategically placed on radio, and persons are kind of stuck in their homes. No, this was in Francis and Jane. I'm sorry, during the pandemic. Let's just be very clear. During the pandemic, persons were stuck in their home, and so I was an essential worker. So I'm on the radio every day, and persons are listening in from all over the world, right? And I got a lot of calls. I got this call that says, "Howard, we have 13 planes in West Palm Beach right now. We want to be able to come into the Bahamas." And it's the truth. This is the truth. You would have seen this. A lot of persons just kind of came in on their own kind of volition, and this kind of an idea that I want to help. How can I help? And so they came into the country. But I got a call asking me to assist, right? So they had 13 planes and the planes are full with this and that and all these things like that. And I made a call to the then minister. Let's not specify the specific ministry. Let's be decent. Mm-hmm. I made a call to the minister, and the minister says, "Howard, send them through me." I thought this was peculiar. I said, "Just tell me how to structure this and assist me with this." You see, no, I'll do that, right? I got another call. Now, this call was business. And it says, "Howard, we've just purchased," and these are true stories, by the way. I have all my facts to back these things up. "Howard, my partner and I have just purchased a warehouse in China with PPPs," right? So these were what you wear in the hospital during this particular time, right? And a lot of masks and all these things like that. Mm. And so he says, "Do you need any assistance?" So I call strategic people to find out whether or not they can be able to assist and how I can be able to do this, right? It was a tremendous amount. And the guy just wanted to sell it to me at cost, right? He sell it because he sent me the whole invoice, the whole breakdown, all the things that I could identify it. He had a secretary call me. We broke it down. We identified these things. I asked him, what do you want for this? He said this. I said, what is the amount that we need? Boom, boom. It was a real business conversation. And so I made those calls and I said, listen, there's an opportunity here to do this, this, and this. And he says, Howard, send them to me. I got this maybe 3 times. I'm going to tell you the 3rd time. Most of this happened through the pandemic. And I was disappointed. I said, it was only your children can eat. I said, only your children can eat. My children can't eat nothing. They must eat grass. And it can be brown in a minute because you wouldn't even allow it to get watered. Wow. Just grass. So the deal fell through. Boom. Because I'm not stupid. I'm not going to do that. Right? And not to be selfish, but there's business. Okay.
How many of these type of events happen every year, you think?
Right now. Yeah. Tons.
And so does that hold us back?
Tons. Our leaders need to be identified as gods, many of them.
How do we get around that? Do we have a ministry of development? And if it's your idea and your investor, then you head it up, but we involve our people?
Men have circumnavigated this for a while. Bahamian men have circumnavigated this and recognized the challenges that they had, and they went across the pond, identify some lily white person from a cul-de-sac, gave them a necktie and a briefcase and said, come into the country, do this, this, and this. They would have gotten the contract, but the beneficiaries of the contract and the bulk of the contract goes to the black man. Many persons don't know that. They would tell you that you need a white face to put at the front of these particular things, and that's how they've been able to circumnavigate that. We haven't had our neo-colonialists, our new dispensation of leaders recognize that this is an issue and strategically been able to put legislation and enforcement behind that to ensure that there is empowerment for the opportunity. When you look at business, you'd see that for business to be owned in the country, you need to be able to have the ratio is 60-40. So you, as a Bahamian, you have to retain 60% of this particular business, and the foreigner retains 40. Now, how the hell that going to work?
The foreigner's not, if it's your money, you're not going to want that kind of setup.
Graham, listen, I try to ask you,
but
I don't have no money.
No, but I'm saying if you were the man with the money, okay, you say, let's do a studio, right? Is your idea, right? Is my money. And you're going to say you only give me 40% though.
It's my money. I spend all the money. You only have the idea, and you're a Bahamian, and you want to give me 40% back of my 100% investment into your space.
Now, I could see if I was putting up the land. You understand?
All I put up was the money. Now, what persons do to circumnavigate this and find themselves in the position of being able to move and grow, they often set up the business so from a legal standpoint, you could be able to see it 60-40 on paper. But there is an additional business contract that identifies who is
the boss.
The boss financially. If you have a good lawyer, you set this up. And the lawyer will say, all right, this is how it's going to go. When you pay this particular person back, this is the interest that it needs, boom, boom, boom. And then, it can kind of stretch out 36 months, 48 months, who knows, however you decide to be able to stretch out this contract. There's one contract that you present to show Howard Grant owns this business on paper. 60% of this business belongs to me. But there's another contract that you don't see that says Howard Grant is broke. I ain't got no money. The persons who actually have the money, this is what is this. Now, let me tell you the third thing that happened to me during the pandemic. During the pandemic, just before the pandemic, I met my business partner and I had an opportunity, right? We always doing business. He's always in the States doing business, right? And so he came across this guy in the casino. I think he was in Hard Rock Cafe, right? In the casino. He calls me. He called me from the casino, right? He said, Howard, I met this guy, boom, 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 right? And so I met the guy on the phone. So I say, hey, man, what's up? Just talking business to the guy. And so the guy says to me, hold on, let me see what this is. My phone sucks. Every time I try to touch it, it just like it dies. Call back, guys. If you're watching the show and you want to be able to see that that was a private call that just came in, please forgive me. I miss your telephone calls, so call back and we take your telephone call right away. That wouldn't be a problem. Okay.
If we had to give your phone a color, what color would it be?
This one here.
Don't do.
This is horrible. I gotta fix this phone. Right. So
That's what happens when we sold our phone company.
No.
Think it's your phone?
I don't think it's a phone company. The phone is in poor condition. Right.
Okay.
So he calls me from the Hard Rock Cafe and he says, "Hey Howard, what's up?" Black guy, right? How do I know he's black?
Bahamian?
No, my Bahamian business partner is in the States, is in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He's at the Hard Rock Cafe, right? Mm-hmm. And at the Hard Rock Cafe, he runs into this guy on the table, whatever he's playing, craps or whatever he's playing. I don't know what he's playing, right? And he calls me. I guess they get into a conversation or whatnot. He calls me and he says, "Howard." Okay, this is a call coming through. Let me see if they can take the telephone call. Caller on the line with us live. Go ahead.
How you doing? I'm Dr. Grunt.
I'm fantastic, man. You are live on the air with us on the foundation. Go ahead.
And thanks and to your guest, Dr. Graham Weatherford. I wanted to ask a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm listening to the point which you're making about the man with the vision versus the man with the money, and why would the man with the money not be able to get the majority share of the business? Mm-hmm. I wanted to just add with the intricacies the fact that if you have money, right, and you don't know how to run the plan, what you think is happening to the money?
Gone.
You lose it, right?
Yeah.
So that's how important the man with the vision is. You can't be successful if you invest in a man vision who don't know the vision, but then the man with the vision, you don't want to give it to him because it's his vision. He own 100% of it. You come with just a component of the money to make it happen, but without the vision and the plan, the money still wastes.
That's true.
That's just the reality.
That's true, but as a man with the money, he's not necessarily concerned about vision. He is concerned about profit.
You ever watch Shark Tank? They don't take what? The little percentage?
No.
When you look at what they get in perpetuity? Were you a startup too? What happened in Freeport?
Startup.
The man with the vision,
startup.
Gone.
Because if you're expanding your vision and you're looking just to expand, because, sometimes people approach it that way if it's startup and you don't know how the business will work out. But if you're an existing business and you're looking to money to expand because you know that you could make more money through this expansion, you just need to access this capital. Why would you want to give a majority of share of your business just for some capital?
Well, see, that happens, and I think that's a unique scenario because a lot of the businesses aren't established. Locally, when we're talking about business, we're not talking about persons who are established. We're talking about persons who have a vision, an idea
I agree with that.
what should
that's
happen.
That's why I want to rule of thumbs. I'm listening.
Go ahead.
Is another point.
That's why I said when I used to do consultancy for businesses, one of the rule of thumbs is I always tell persons before you go and acquire or look to seek investment, operate the business, get it to sales, because now you have something that you can build factual information to the investor on when you talk about how you know the potential of the business, because you already started to acquire sales for the business. So I try to tend to always tell persons, if you start, now try to bootstrap, get it to some sales, kind of understand your business, follow your plan. And then once you start to see that you know how to tap into the market, penetrate the market, or even generate sales for your business, now an investment climate would be, or opportunity would be good for you at that point, because now you only need more money to keep doing more things.
I like it.
You show the potential and you just need some gas to make it go.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's
I like it.
Or you mean just have gas, and you just need more gas because you don't have enough to get to the destination, to get to the jackpot.
I like it.
Why do we hold money away from our people?
I appreciate your telephone call, my brother. I know who this is. I know if you want me to call your name on the air. Okay, Hanchel.
Yeah.
Okay, Hanchel. You running this year?
Yeah.
Next
Every
year?
I run in Gardeners again.
You running Gardeners again?
So, yeah. Good
Really?
to see you all, brothers. Love you all. Have a good day.
I appreciate you, man, Hancho, man. Ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen,
sir.
that's Hancho
I'll
being able
continue
to talk about these things. But one of the issues that we have with that particular scenario, that is a challenge in our society, is the desperation that we have as men. In a society where consumption is God, where we have to pay to survive. I stopped to a store the other day, and the guy says, hey, hello, sir. And, I guess my size and color is attract everybody to come ask me for something. I don't know. Right? So the fella say, how you doing, sir? I had an older gentleman. He had to be in his 60s, almost 70, right? And if he's not, so you look horrible for your age, right? So anyway, he's outside the store. And I stopped right there on, what's that, East Street, north, just before you get to the hill, right there by where Kiki Dem is, that little store right there, right? KK, I'm sorry, not Kiki, KK, right? And so I walked in there. He says, hey, how you doing, sir? You all right? I said, everything is good, man. So he said, I can't bother you to buy me one butane. I said, butane? Yeah, buy me one little gas. So I said, buy you a gas? $2.50 for the butane gas for you to be able to have your hot plate, your little stove, right? I gone in there 2 for $5, right? I buy him 2. And I gave it to him, and I thought about it. This dude didn't ask me for $1. He asked me for the survival. That's the society we live in. Every day we consume to survive. And there's no opportunity, there's no help. We don't have no gardens, we don't have no nothing to be able to survive for ourselves. We depend upon what we have to purchase. And so when you find yourself in this position, especially if you have a family, and I know about this, Kareem, because I got my family and I got these dreams that would not stop. I got this vision. I got this. My wife looking at me right now, trying to figure out, okay, now when are we going to be profitable, right? She's looking at me right now, trying to figure out, okay, now we need to start, because this is an investment. This is an investment, right? And give God praise that I'm creative in how I do my things, right? But nonetheless, a lot of persons find themselves in this position that they're not willing to depart with the little that they have, no matter how rich, strong, and convicted they are of this dream that it would not stop. They're still not willing to depart with the little that they have, because it's only little, to get to the greater. And that's one of the issues that we have in our society. And so you look for an angel investor. You look for someone who can pour into these concepts. You look for some startup capital. You look for something that someone could believe in your vision enough to throw you a bone. And that's where we are. You didn't let me get to this third story yet, Third story, Hard Rock Cafe. Let's see if I can finish it now. Hard Rock Cafe calls me, meet the guy. Black guy knows a white guy. White guy, he says, I know this guy. He's in the big business. He wants to do some stuff. He's been looking for an opportunity in the Bahamas. My business partner and I were looking at a couple pieces of property to be able to build something on. He knew a builder. I don't know how the hell they get in this conversation over craps or blackjack or pokino. Or I don't know what the hell he was playing, right? Whatever they're playing, poker, I don't know.
Might have started with him saying you from the Bahamas because of the accent. And then
it may have started like that, right?
Kicks off, yeah.
And so now I'm here in Nassau having a conversation with these guys who's in the States, one being my business partner. And then they connect us with someone. So he tells me, come over to the States. So I hop on a plane, right? I go and I meet this guy, right? Black guy. We met up at the mall. He started to talk to us about business. He introduced us to the son of the businessman. There's a lot behind this story that I care not to get into, right?
The plot thickens.
Anyway, the plot is very thick. So he introduces me to the son of this businessman. The son says, yeah, man, my dad does this and that. He built the Hard Rock Cafe. My dad, business partner, built this, and he built these golf courses and this and that and all these things. I say, okay, no problem. So he introduces me to his father. This is how business happens in the world. He introduces me to his father, right? So me and my business partner right now, we in Lauderdale, we in West Palm, and we meeting all kind of people. The partner sat down, talked to us about concepts and ideas. I told him exactly who I was. They do Google me. They do all these things. They did their research background and so forth and so on. My business partner also, trying to be able to figure out who we were. We did the exact same thing with them. We tried to make sure that they're legit businessmen, so forth and so on, did what they had to do. And we forged an agreement. I still didn't meet the big man yet. King Cobra, I haven't met him as yet. And after we've done all of this and we worked out all of this stuff, they finally came me to the businessman.
And you was feeling good. Don't lie.
Listen, you ever play Mario Brothers? So it's okay. Yeah, we got some that, and he didn't meet in sort of a neutral location. He met at his home. He lived in a gated community in West Palm Beach, and in this particular community, his neighbor is Michael Jordan. His neighbor is Michael Jordan, right? And this is an affluent, uppity area. And he invited me into his home. He is an owner in NASCAR. He's also known in NASCAR, right? And so we start talking business. We start talking concepts. We start talking prospects. We started to look at some businesses that we want. We had a good team. We brought him down. He came down on his private flight. We introduced him to the Minister of Tourism at the time under the Free National Movement administration. Diagala said, how the hell, right? Diagala, if you don't know Diagala, he is loose a couple words sometimes. So anyway, he gave me some choice words. How the whoa did you do this, right? So I said, I don't know. It just happened. So he said, I can't believe this. So I had already convinced the guy to be able to invest significantly in the Bahamas. I told him to build a school. I told him to do this. I said, we can sit down with the government to see whether you could be able to develop some homes, because this is what he does. So I can say, we can do this, boom, 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 boom. I sat down. Diagala was blown away. And by this time that we sat down, the hurricanes had already hit. Dorian had already hit. Okay? So we revived the conversation about being able to build and clean up Abaco. I telling you the truth. I ain't lying, not a word of lie. I telling you right now. We came up with the concept to be able to dredge all of the debris out of Abaco into South Carolina. They had a humongous kind of a pit. I don't know what it is, right? This a site. And we got 2 big dredges, right? 2 barges. He had all access to all the bulldozers and the this and the that and all these things like that. And we came up with the concept, and I pitched this concept to the DRA. The DRA put me through it, which was John Michael Clark. John Michael Clark enjoyed it. He said, okay, Howard, we like this, we like that. I said, how do we do this? How do we go about doing these things? Is there an RFP that we go? How do we put a tender? What do we do, right? So we just was trying to figure out, are you guys going to clean up Abaco properly, right? So John Michael Clark eventually, because this didn't happen initially, eventually said we're going to decide to be able to let it kind of wither away.
They didn't help you with the ease of doing business as a Bahamian?
Damn thing. They didn't help me with a thing. In fact, when they saw me bring the bright
players.
man, the big white man, right, in these places, everyone looking like, Jesus, where I would get this man from, right? And he sat there and he did real business. And he said to the Minister of Tourism at the time, there's supposed to be the NASDAQ 500, right? The Indy 500, something like this, right?
Yeah.
And he says, Howard, I'm going to take my vehicle, and he bring the 3D model, right? He says, we're going to wrap it in the Bahamian flag and put all the islands of the Bahamas and support it in whatever we make, boom, 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 right? We'll give it to the Ministry of Tourism. We'll give it to the Bahamas. We'll do this just for recognition for what you've gone through with Dorian. Listen, this thing was airtight. They still tell me I got to go through them because they ain't on my board. They ain't making no money. They ain't getting nothing from this. And all they could say is, Jesus, we can make Howard a king. We can't do this. This is the problem that we have in this country.
So that's where I just asked you, how many...
I never asked him for that job.
No, you see, I think what we fail...
I never threatened nothing to do with them.
What we fail to realize, if we make more kings, right? It's going to make us look good as the people governing. But we're scared to let it go and let it blossom. Now, I ascertained something out of the last 20 minutes. I need to stay out the sun more.
Yeah, if you were a little bit paler, you could get some things.
Yeah. I don't use suntan lotion. That's my problem.
You on the scooter all day.
Yeah. But on a serious note, though, right back to where's the big thinking? We sat down during COVID for, what, almost 2 years and did nothing? We should have been planning. We should have been building the infrastructure, keeping distance, but putting in the infrastructure to build 5 new cities on 5 of the major islands. And I would have started with a new city in Freeport because it looked like nobody for 50-some years could sort out what's going on there. Not in the capital. in Freeport, because the capital could be turned into a city that looked better than Dubai in my head. A carbon-neutral, crypto-smart city. With overhead transportation.
In Grand Bahama?
I sat with the Minister of Tourism on radio almost too much. Remember that? The New Day show?
I don't know if that could work. The reason why I say that is because of the inclement weather. We don't know the position of what's happening
with the hurricanes. And that's why I said move it to Andros. All of the other islands in the Bahamas protect Andros from the Atlantic Ocean. You notice that? We never had a Category 9 hit Andros. And Andros is big. You can grow your own food. Andros has water. You can make electricity from 9 different sources. But water is expensive to make. They do it in the desert in Dubai and Qatar and other places. You know, it's very sad that we've done the story of the talents in the Bible. We just buried our talent. From the number 1 wealthiest country in this part of the world.
Because it's hard for you to be able to allow that thing to blossom. Do you know, okay, so, and this is biblical wisdom also. You don't just let everyone know everything that you're doing. But the difficulty that you have in this society is that there are people who deliberately, specifically working against you. They want to destroy you.
Why did we not make education?
They don't want you to have nothing.
Oh, we know that. All kind of syndrome. And it's sad because we should have made education number 1, not D. Because smart people vote for even smarter people. If you were Prime Minister today and you allowed, with proper due diligence, what you just explained to happen, right? For a Bahamian.
But it goes back to what Lyndon Benton says. I want to create at least 100 millionaires. I think we could create 1,000 millionaires that could change the dynamics of this country. But if you do that, then the people won't have dependency upon their members of parliament anymore. And if we don't have a dependency on the members of parliament, then the political organizations will have the responsibility of actually having to produce.
There you go. So the members of parliament and the leaders would have no fear or risk, right? Of being, you saw what happened in Singapore? When the leader died, they did CPR on him for about half a year. They didn't want him to die.
You can't die now.
No,
you can't
because
die now.
He helped everybody move up. And the same thing's happening in the United Arab Emirates in Qatar and Doha. You know, release the people. We should have focused, we could start now, but we should have focused on the best education. Right now, we need to teach other skills in school besides skills to make a bed or for the Industrial Revolution. This is how you do things. ABC, 1, 2, 3, repeat after me. You fold a sheet this way, you put a plate out this way.
Repetition.
A robot is going to take that job. Doing it in the U.S. right now in some restaurants. So we need to be teaching strategy like chess. We need to be teaching money in schools. We need to be teaching AI. In China, they're teaching AI in primary school. What are we doing to curriculum? We need to get an overhaul of education because it all starts with education.
But it comes back to whether or not we're competing with anyone. Are we competing with China? Are we competing with the United States of America? Are we competing with Jamaica? We're not competing. So we're in this kind of a content position, and people accept this kind of lackadaisical, lackluster service from the world over, right? They've actually coined it. Oh, we are on island time. We are on Bahamian time. We're here in these particular spaces, but not necessarily being able to give clarity to anything else. Let's take this telephone call. This is Anton. Anton, go ahead. Hey, Anton, go ahead. What's happening?
Hey, Howard, you can hear me clearly?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Okay, right. Good afternoon to yourself. Good afternoon, Graham. Good afternoon, Foundation Nation. As it relates to this conversation, creating millionaires in our country, this is something I've been channeling and leading the conversation on in talk shows over the last 20 years in our country, right? And that's a challenge. It has been a challenge. We have had some millionaires that were created, definitely, right? We can't deny that some people were made millionaires, but in mass numbers, absolutely not.
No.
And And here's the crazy thing about it. Current Prime Minister, Mr. Davis. See, Howard, you have to have a team around you who's also prepared to support that level of thinking. Mr. Davis is one of those persons, as a Prime Minister, as a leader. He absolutely believes in creating, in wealth creation for Bahamians.
Well, let me put a plug in for me. Let me put a plug in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Before the end of September, I could have my guy on the ground, and between the next 10 months to 12 months, we could build 200 houses. 200 houses in a space. Listen, because I'm watching what's happening. I'm watching what's going on, and I'm stuck outside the gate. I'm like Mordecai, I screaming, trying to be able to get inside the gate. But there are opportunities and relationships that I have forged, and I speak for Howard, but there are so many Bahamians who are actively working, seeking to get what we believe that the government of the Bahamas needs for transformation in this country. But when we present it, we're rejected. When we present it, we're denied. When we present it, we don't have that ilk, that cloth. We're not from that particular grouping, and we're not given the opportunities of access that we want. And that's a lot of the times is what it is.
We have you can hear me, Howard?
Go ahead, yeah, man.
We have a bad habit in the country of continually funneling money in one particular direction, right? In the direction of the already wealthy and super wealthy in the country. And that has been creating a clog in the system. And I was of the view, and I'm still of the view, that this current administration can begin to chip away in a serious way at that mindset, Howard, because it's going to take a stubborn effort, continuous reminder to the powers that be that we Bahamians are out here waiting, not for crumbs from the table, right? We are waiting for those of us who have already proven ourselves. We're waiting for the opportunity to climb to the top of the mountain. Similarly to those who are at the top of the mountain and continually eating from the top of the mountain, right? Which can't be right. It cannot be right in a democratic society. It cannot be right. It cannot be right in a small population where we have all the opportunity, all the power to make the change. But for one or two people around the table who's not of the mindset to see regular, average, middle class, everyday Bahamians empowered, and they therefore shut the door behind them.
And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, but that's just what happens. I appreciate your telephone call, Anton.
Before you go, Anton, let me tell you something. What you said today, restore all the faith I had in you. Today you were, listen to me, and this is being archived. You were the best you've ever been today. And what I'm about to say after you leave is built on what you're saying. Because can you imagine, whichever prime minister does what you just said, he will be there longer than Celinda Oscar Pinland.
Listen, Howard, let me end with this point right here, Howard, because Graham, this is something I've been promoting for the last 20 years. But in particular, Graham and Foundation Nation and Howard, during this administration right here, I sat on the economic empowerment platform for the party, right? And this was one of the ideas that I was pushing hardest. Let's empower our people. Let's create not only millionaires, 10,000aires. Let's create 100,000aires. Let's create millionaires. Let's meet people where they are. And by the end of this administration, they have graduated or grown to another level. We don't leave them where they are. We meet them one place and we move them to the next. And so Graham.
So Anton, you see what you just said, right? If someone came into my cabinet or any meeting with me, if I was leader, and I don't want to be, I would have said, sir, I want you to head that up. I'm going to give you 1 year to head that up.
Yep.
And I'm going to facilitate it with accountants, with whatever we need, Ministry of Finance. And I want you to head that up. And not just those numbers. I want you to grow that to 500 to 3,000 Bahamians.
Me and you on the same page, the very same page right now with where we are, this ticket that we are on, Graham. And this is exactly what I was looking forward to. Unfortunately, some things didn't work out the way it was intended to work out. It was agreed and discussed to work out, but that's the thinking, Graham. And I'll remember this out. If Prime Minister Davis continues to move the mountains around him that are prohibiting him from doing the things that is in his heart to create these millionaires, 100,000-aires, 10,000-aires, listen, man, the Bahamian people will reward the PLP or any government that has the nerve to do it with a longevity in leadership in this country that would surpass Sir Lyndon. Thank you for the opportunity, Howard.
Thank you, man.
God bless. Thank you.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man.
No crumbs, but ownership.
And that's just what it is.
That's what I gathered from what he just said. And, you know, we've had the same message, Howard, forever, right? You feel like the guy building that pyramid, but not owning it. And that's backbreaking work.
That's called slavery.
Yes, it is.
It's slavery.
Watch this. We have all the land.
Building a pyramid, but you don't own it.
Well, the
you
people
may not
were
be an
enslaved.
Egyptian.
No, yeah, right.
You may not be
The Egyptian was eating grapes and stuff. But think about it. The number one thing Obi Wilshcombe told me is we need more heads in beds. Not more cruise ships coming for a few minutes and leaving. More heads in beds, because the head in bed got to do what? He got to eat something. And I don't want a resort. I want a hotel. Remember the Holiday Inn on PI? Mm-hmm. You didn't have 16 restaurants in there, eh? No, you had to come out. You had to come and eat with us, shop with us, buy things with us.
Yeah, but our government doesn't put a moratorium on these things.
We shouldn't allow the resort.
That's what I'm trying to tell you now. We see the government actually forging relationships with these particular entities that's coming to the country and saying that they have this kind of this big global name that you're identified from a global standpoint, coming to the country and being able to put this 12-foot wall around your space, and putting all you could eat everything and
buffet,
all inclusive everything and buffet and all your drinks and this and that. And so the experience that they have only is confined within the space of that 12-foot wall. They never experienced the Bahamas.
1958, my mother came to the Bahamas on a cruise ship, and the boat was shut down. That boat had to shut down. I believe it was in the 90s we let the boat open, or I don't know what we did, but that boat had to shut down. She had to walk all over the hill, what we call over the hill. But it was restaurants, it was nightclubs, and she was safe. How can you not be safe in a 5-by-5 mile radius? You don't want safety then, because after 52 years you wanted safety, you would have had NASA on lock.
Yeah.
I mean, like it or not, DC just got no killings in a week. So if you could do it for that big an area.
Hold on. Are you trying to
No, I'm not saying I'm not promoting any individual. I'm saying
not individual, but a particular mindset. Do you believe that there should be martial law?
No, not martial law. But if you got people doing what we're doing and the tourists and the Bahamians' life in risk, right? You should police differently. You understand? Not martial law, but police differently.
Yeah, but that causes a problem in our society because you're the safest when you go downtown. All the police in Nassau are downtown.
Why is that?
Every time? Yeah, because they're concerned. Well, I can't say they're concerned.
Why can't I be safe in Montel Heights just as I am downtown?
Because there ain't enough police officers to be swarming Montel Heights. And ain't no money in Montel Heights.
Why should you have to swarm?
Ain't no money in Montel Heights.
Oh.
Let's be very clear about this. The money coming in from the cruise ships downtown, the money coming in from the airports, the money coming in from these particular spaces, we got to ensure that our customers are safe. We got to ensure that the U.S. Embassy doesn't identify and blacklist us and say that it's not safe. And so the resources that we have to ensure that we could be able to take care of the people are now dispersed to ensure that we can be able to take care of the foreigners that are coming in or to the tourists that are coming in to ensure that we can be able to maintain what we have as a nation.
So instead of building another city around your boat and allowing the beach on Paradise Island to have the tourists from the boat go there instead of my Junkanoo beaches or Montague beaches or wherever, why did we basically, and you're going to see it, and Glenna Santa Martin said it, I think it was 2017, and I said it, and Obie Wilshcombe said it, are we going to keep the tourists isolated? Am I going to be able to go on that shuttle over to that beach on Paradise Island by the lighthouse? Or is that just going to be for the tourists? This is segregation. You see what's coming? I hope, I'm not going to preempt anything. When the lighthouse beach opens up, bring me on the show, and let's, about 2 months later, and let's have a discussion.
You and Toby here.
No, I mean, I don't think it should go to one individual. I think that's the people's land. We have ownership in that land. Your boat is going to put something on the land. We should have a joint venture. It shouldn't be where someone come and leases land and does whatever happens around this country. It's who's negotiating the deals. Anyway, back to Anton. Anton, this is for you. Why don't we say the 200 homes that Howard wants to build, right? I want those 200 homes.
I let them go, you know.
No, I want those in Andros. Listen to this, Howard. But I also want another.
I can put them in Andros today.
Yes, but I want you to put another 200.
One call. Hey, listen, cuz, what's up? Boom, boom, boom. Hey, Howard, haven't heard from you in so long.
Could you do 400?
We could do 1,000.
Let's do 1,000. I want five. Listen to this vision. I want 500 homes in Andros for Bahamian citizens that are struggling in New Providence. And I want another 500 homes, right? And when we say home, this doesn't have to be big. This could be small as a duplex. Watch it now. They're going to live in one, and the other one's going to be on VBRO, Airbnb, and all kind of Bahamas B&B, which I said we should have done a long time.
I think that
we're going to own tourism instead of working in it.
When I look at this, I've said for some time, I don't know why, and I got to take a commercial break. Yep. But I don't know why the government has taken on this kind of position where they don't truly empower the Bahamian people. I don't know why. We've been talking about this crown land. You got Lincoln talking about how much crown land exists in this particular space. You got him talking about...
Granville did too.
Granville talked about it.
3 million acres?
Right, yeah. The government was supposed to, under the last administration, being able to do a proper assessment and an inventory of all the crown land that was in these particular spaces. They never did that. Right? We're talking about how do we empower people and really be... Listen, land is king. And you could be able to own land. You own a part of the rock, but, you know...
The bank asks you for land when you go there, nothing else. When the investor comes, he wants land, nothing else really. That's where they start, with the land.
And they don't want no 20-year lease.
They want ownership, man.
They want ownership.
You see what happened in Grand Bahama with the big boat? That land. Look what could be done once you have the land.
They want ownership.
The money will come. You don't think you could have called your friend and said, hey, I've got this much land in Grand Bahama, and I want to put 500 Airbnbs on that same land?
But you see, you keep... and
you would have been a grand wizard and rich.
But they don't want that. You could imagine Howard walking around here with gold shoes. They don't know what to do with me.
You know, Howard, when you get...
Are you floating?
We need to... levitating.
Okay.
We need to get...
Let me levitate. Leave me alone. Right?
When you get that rich, you know what you can drive? An old Honda Civic.
Oh, come on now.
Because you could say, I don't want to waste the money.
I might just drive a scooter. Yeah. You know, these fellas in the scooter, they rich. I just want to be very clear with you. I just messing with you. Guys, let me take this quick commercial break. I'm sitting here with Graham Weatherford, being able to talk about where we are in the country and looking at all these particular prospects and concepts and ideas and how to be able to pull that together. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to take this quick break, guys. I'm going to be right back. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, live right here on the Foundation, jamming with you. Grateful to be in your company, always being able to talk where we are. Grateful to kind of have this conversation with you. I don't do this to let you know about this sort of an idea of access and opportunities I have, but I do this for all those that exist like me, for the remnant that has a desire to be able to pour into this country with the relentless dreams and the ideas and the visions that continue to be able to bombard them day in and day out. They can't sleep. They can't sleep. Okay? So this is the one that's from Clement. I just want you to be able to look on the screen. If you can check this out, this is going to be September 9th at 7 p.m. All the information's in there. If you want to be able to take a screenshot and check that out, you can do that. This is an event that he has going on. Guys, if you're out there and you want to be able to get some stuff done for yourself and you want persons to know exactly what, send me a flyer, send me stuff like that. Right? We can do it free now. Now, hey, for now, praise Jesus. As we continue to grow, you know that we're going to be able to have a proper exchange and do it like that, right? So let's talk like that and let's be able to make some things happen, right? But I'm grateful to have this conversation. Like I said to you, I'm not doing this so you could be able to say, oh, Howard, no, all these people, Howard, going. I don't have the time for that. I don't.
There are countless other people that have the same story. That's what the sad thing is. When
I start to tell my stories in certain spaces, and everyone is almost like we're sitting in a session of AA, and everyone got a story to tell you.
Because through tourism, right? Through tourism, you have the opportunity to meet people from all over the world, from not so rich to some of the butlers who navigate and talk to some of the wealthiest people every day. You understand? Multi-billionaires. And these people, all they want to do is park their money somewhere where it will make money. And they believe in empowering the Bahamian because they know them. If I've been your chauffeur, your butler for the last 20 years, you know me. You send your kids and grandkids down and I take care of them and I take them to fish fry and I show them a good time. We'd go bone fishing, whatever, right? So the trust is there. But then I tell you, we have a new administration, and you don't know any of these people, but they all want to be involved. Let me say this nicely. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to be involved with people you don't know. Mm-hmm. And that's why it should be a whole department or ministry that says, hey, you have an idea? How, like, if I was the leader, I would have, like Anton said, I would have had a department to specialize in what you have uncovered and brought to the table, whether it was intentional or by accident.
No, see, it's just, okay, you can't negotiate with an employee. Simple. If you have an employee that doesn't have an empowering mindset, that is not nationalistic, that sits at the gates before I can answer, before I can access, before I can get it, I will never get it. I will never get it. If you have an employee mindset, whether he's an elder, however, and he sits out or she sits at the gates.
The gatekeeper.
These are the gatekeepers. And all they could see is how much job this is, how much money you can throw it for me. They don't see long-term in this. They don't see future in this.
And they definitely don't see ownership for you.
And they don't see ownership for
the Bahamian.
Ownership?
No, you shouldn't have the ownership.
These Negroes, so I know you from East Street. You grow up in this and that. You all didn't that. You all from Strawn's Corner. You all from the Valley. You all from this. You all from that. You all this boy from where? What? Where? No, boy. He's an affluent people. He don't know how to do that. Give it to me. I'll do it for you. Sir, your lazy guts. And I just want to be decent. I don't want guts. You never do nothing in your life. But today when I bring this to you, all of a sudden I must give this to you. Come on, mister, if you get out of my face. You never do nothing, never try nothing in your life. Never bet. I tell you, everything I did, I invest.
So our best ideas and country's potential lay in the graveyard.
But I can't say that, Graham, because life ain't over yet.
Well, I'm saying to date, not in the future. But I mean, think about it, Howard.
There's a great deal of great ideas have died with these people.
Well,
there's a great deal of great ideas that has gone unspoken because of the fear of victimization, because of the fear of suppression, because of the fear of being able to get through this red tape. And you know what disappoints me is that more specifically the Free National Movement Administration, there is a desire to be able to get to expedience under the past administration. And they've done everything to be able to cut down to the ease of doing business. I think we were 124th or 129th on the global scale for the ease of doing business.
But I think the ease of doing business should be expedited for...
internally.
Indigenous. I wanted to say organic, but let me say indigenous people. The Bahamian should be expedited over some
That's the
foreign
principle, though.
entity.
That's the principle, Graham.
And you have to take that. If you don't, then I can't vote for you, unfortunately.
The principle is once you take care of it from an internal standpoint, automatically it takes care of itself from an external standpoint. Once you create these entities that persons could be able to access and get opportunities. Listen, I shouldn't have to give everybody lunch money to get business done.
I understand what you're saying there. But anyway.
I buy more Kentucky and this and that and then bamboo shack and all these things. You all right, my baby? You look hungry. You want to listen, I need some help. Boom, 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 boom.
I really felt good when the Bahamas Development Bank started because I thought it would have been that entity that would have,
But I had issues at Bahamas Development Bank.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out.
I tell you the story when I go to the Bahamas Development Bank with the concept. My mother had just won in her particular capacity as Member of Parliament for 8 Mile Rock in 2007. I lost my job the year before. I was looking for an opportunity to be able to expand into my landscaping business that I had in Grand Bahama, and I needed a couple dollars. I went there. The fellas say, you was a grant? I said, yes, sir. Your mother is Vernet Grant? I said, yes, sir. He said, man, you don't need this money. But what the hell am I here for? They say, you don't need this money. You tell me that on a Friday. Me and him had a conversation. He totally rejected me, told me I don't need the money on a Friday. Saturday, I go on home, get my son, my first son. I don't know, it might have been about 1 year old at the time. No, he was about 3. My daughter was a little baby, right? So I get them all dressed up in their Sunday best. I tell my wife, fix your hair, fix all the things in the Sunday best. I get 4 passports. My wife couldn't understand what she was doing. I said, you going with me on Monday? She said, where we going? I said, you're going with me on Monday. I dress up and I go to see the guy. I take my whole family in there and I throw my passports on the table, all 4. I said, let me explain something to you. You see my mother in here? Right? Friday. This is a Friday going to him.
It could have gone 2 ways.
I come back on a Monday, and I all my family clean. Everybody was dressed up. We had 4 Bahamian passports on the table. He sat in the capacity for working for the government. I didn't ask any favors. I came there and I said, look around. You see any of my mother in here? I asked him, I said, look, you see my mother in here? I say, as a man, I came to you and I asked you these particular things. Don't you ever, my children are Bahamian, I'm Bahamian, and we should have access to these particular things. Now, if I ask you these things, you tell me I don't need something, and I stood up. And he said, he thought I was, my size is intimidate people. You think I try to get, no, my size, right? And so I said, let me explain something to you. I never beg you for nothing. I came here because the government is offering opportunities for these particular persons. I've had problems with every entity, whether that be banks, whether that be commercial institutions, every entity for an opportunity to be able to find out how can I access startup capital to get something done. They want all my business plan before they could decide if they can give me something. So you could teach my business plan.
That's a big issue. What color T-shirt y'all had on?
Huh? So you could teach my business plan.
That's a big problem.
So you could put it on the shelf. And so in 5 years, I could see the concept that I had operating in society and I get nothing from it. That's what you want me to do. Because I name idiot. And that's what you want. No, boy.
You know, Howard, I'm going to show you something. This is West End. You familiar, right?
Of course.
And what I'm showing Howard is one section of West End all developed and looking nice, correct? And then just outside, I'm showing you a different type of West End. You see it? What looked like shouldn't look.
This is Google, guys. I don't know if you could be able to see this and be able to see exactly what
Let
it
me
is.
hold it up.
Right? Let him hold it up.
Yeah.
Is this the West End right there?
The whole, when I say West End has the potential, right, with what I told you and I told former minister, this is how some people are living, gated.
That's the Ginsumar community.
With a nice canal. And
that is for sale.
Yes, and if you come a little further out, this is West End. After 52 years. I reject that, you know.
It still looks like it's in horrible condition.
It's Google Earth. You can go look at it. And so You could take that whole West End and you could do some things that you have connectivity to do. But we as Bahamians seem to get stifled.
Well, my connectivity has placed me in this position, and the only reason I haven't tapped into it is because at some point or another, you have to go through government
Yeah.
to get approvals.
EIA and this one and the next one.
And you find yourself stifled, and I think a lot of persons, you find yourself stifled, and I don't have the money to reach. If you watch the fire, the fire, what is it called, the fire thing, with Ja Rule and all those persons who was here. If you watch the documentary
Festival.
that was on
Netflix?
on Netflix.
Yeah.
If you watch the documentary on Netflix, and what the fella said, he was willing to take one for the team. He thought he had to go and
Yeah.
I don't have the time for this. I don't. As a Bahamian, I guarantee you, I'm going to create more than 150 jobs. I guarantee you.
You're actually going to create ownership if you put a spin on it where the people...
And just with these people working with me, that's just one of the disadvantages of when Bahamians working with you, right? You could have foreigners work with you. They never concerned about your money. Never. I had some Bahamian guys work with me. They concerned about my money all day. Boss, how much you get for that one?
Comparing notes?
I paying you on Friday, eh? Yeah, but boss, if you charging $300 and we didn't do 10 of these today, you must have made about $10,000, $3,000.
We good with percentages, you know.
Sir.
And they want some ownership in that.
You out here wilding out counting my money. Huh? If you could do this, you could do this yourself. But you can't. That's why you're working for me. Yeah, but boss, you need to pay me more. You must rather going through like that. Until I say, I don't think I'm going to hire local anymore.
It sounds like that's the same concept, the level above you, that you're having to go see somebody and they're thinking that way. You know
That's
what I mean?
crazy.
Like who you is. It's so easy to fix the Bahamas, Howard, because we have people now that have grown up with a phone in a digital age like you. And you've been exposed to stuff. Even though we didn't give you the best school that we should have, you've escaped school through the phone, right? And you didn't go to college or university, and we see those all falling apart in the U.S. right now, right? So with that phone, you're self-educated. And you know what you want to do, and you see the potential of different things around the world, and you're like, why can't I do this here? The Crown Prince, UAE, the guy goes on 60 Minutes, and he goes, if you can have it in England or America, why can't I have it here?
Simple.
In the middle of the desert.
And
We got islands with luscious sand and water and everything else. This man is in the middle of the desert and saying, why can't I do it? Oh, he has oil. Well, we have oil and natural gas too. We didn't even need to touch the oil and natural gas. And then they go to Bahamas is tiny, insignificant, and whatever. We go in the ocean almost all the way up to Jacksonville. We're a huge country. We're not tiny and insignificant. We're in the Atlantic Ocean next to Miami and extremely wealthy. The only thing broke around here is ideas. Money comes. Money follows ideas. Like you said, you had the idea, the man in the States hunt you down with the money.
He hunt me down.
So,
And I tell him I could give him access to this administration. He said he's working with some people. Somebody texts us and say, those fellas on the scooters, heavyweights indeed, right? Somebody texts us.
well, I tell you one thing here, right? I drive around, I look at people, I peep in the window of the Beamer and the yellow light on, it ain't got no gas, but it's a new BMW. You know what's really sad? We have one person in every car. Now, I understand a car taking children to school, right? But if it's just you or me, one person, and I'm heading to go get some fast food or I go in downtown, whatever, why wouldn't I get on a scooter? They do it in Bermuda. They give you incentives to be on a scooter. And you burn $5 gas a week with the truck burning.
Listen, hold on, don't even ask, because
And you park wherever.
The truck is burning $130 gas a week.
Ouch.
Why
are we paying? Hey,
7 days.
we ain't got enough show. Why are we paying $5.50 US dollars for a gallon of gas? And right there, 30 miles away in Miami, they paying $3.25. And let me show you this, Howard. Gas in Venezuela today is 13 cents a gallon. So if you got a 10-gallon tank,
but they don't want that.
It's $1.30. Everything here is double. Could you imagine if you fill your car up for $2.60 a week? What you could do with the extra money? And let's just do the power roll right now. You put VAT 10% on my school fee, and then you give me a backpack. Who pay for the backpack? We have to teach money in school. Because,
They're teaching money.
huh?
They're not teaching money.
You giving me this backpack, I don't know where it is, what the quality is. I could buy a Kipling backpack if you stop putting VAT on my school fee. You know Kipling?
Well,
So what's going on? This is the richest country in the world. People visit me from all over the U.S., all over Canada, and they go, my God, you could pay $5.50 for a gallon of gas, and guess how tough it is here? We pull up to the gas station, Americans jump out and trying to put gas into SD, right? The pump attendant say, hey, don't touch that. Bohemians are royalty. We pump that gas for you. You crazy, eh? You also have to do that in the U.S. because you're all broke. When you go to the food store here, the Americans trying to put the grocery in the bag. No, don't touch that. We can put that in the bag for you and
but
take
what
it to
you-
the car.
What you're describing is
Rich people.
What you're describing is the idea of a job being taken away from them.
Yes.
Packing bag is a job,
Yes.
which many persons unfortunately turn into a career. Pumping gas is a job,
Yes.
which unfortunately persons have turned into a career.
But I wouldn't want to take those jobs away. You understand? Because when I started off, I was in the food store too,
Yeah.
packing shelf. But anyway,
I'm-
that's another story.
But the truth is, Graham, as we look at this, there has to be a path for ascension in this country. That's all this is.
And ownership.
There has to be a path for ascension and ownership. That ascension is towards ownership.
No more
And we have
job.
to figure that out.
Stop talking jobs.
Let's talk about it, man. Graham, I had a good conversation with you. Good time, guys. Make sure you pick up your papers, check them out. Always keep abreast with those things. I want to thank all you guys. Remember, like I said, go down to the hospital, Mayo Surgical Ward, and you can be able to give some blood for my very good uncle, William Bill Poitier, who was the comptroller out of Customs. You should know him. He's done well. Wesley Methodist Church continues to be able to ask for persons to go down there and do that. If you can do that, please do that. Go check out Clem stuff. September 9th, I think he said he put it up there. You can check it out. I put it online. And I want you guys, if you have anything, please send it to me. 827-0111, 827-0111. We're going to see you tomorrow, God's Spirit, right here on The Foundation.
I have a dream where the powerful and the powerless will sit at the same table, where the haves will see the have-nots, not as burdens, but as brothers, where class will not divide us, but conviction will unite us. I have a dream that the oligarchs will remember we must all eat, that the brown-faced neo-colonialists will remember who they are and whose they are. I have a dream that fraternities will build beyond internal architecture into a national bond, that the walls of design will give way to the bridges of brotherhood, not a fraternity of symbol, but a brotherhood of substance. I have a dream that we remain focused, that we stay in our conviction and remain fearless, that we double down, fortified, to return this Bahama land to the foundation.